So, our guest today is the powerhouse and an expert in the field of social media. She's an art director who knows how to tell real stories. So, please welcome Lauren Boyce. If you watched my last episode, we talked about hospitality marketing, but today we're going to talk about fitness and wellness. Hi, Lauren. Thank you for joining me today. How have you
Hi,
been?
thanks for having me. I've been great. How about you?
I'm great. So, as this is our first conversation ever, can you tell us a little bit about yourself to the audience and me, of course?
Absolutely. So, my name is Lauren Boyce. I am a social media manager and art director in the fitness space. I've worked with a variety of different industries. I ended up falling in love with the fitness space, got into it a couple years ago, and have been working in it ever since.
Wow, love it, love it. I haven't had any fitness journey yet, and I'm trying to push myself to go to the gym, but I'm so lazy.
It's a great
But
time. It's a great time.
okay, so we'll start with the question one. I did a little study about your background, and I know that you are an art director and a little bit about fitness. So, how did your background as an art director lead you to the world of social media?
Yeah, so back when I was in college and I was kind of exploring what I wanted to do with my creative journey, I did a lot of, graphic design, a lot of art, and I knew at the end of the day, I really wanted to delve into something a lot more creative, something that I can really start to make things, put them
Wow.
out with the world. I was in an art direction program at University of Oregon,
Mhm, mhm.
and I started to work with different nonprofit organizations on their social media. And the reason why I did that is because I got to do a lot of graphics. I got to like be in there with my camera, start filming things. One of my friends actually referred me to a
Mhm.
program to start helping with their social media, and we had a lot of fun doing it. So I really started to kind of marry the two together pretty early on in my career. And then I graduated in 2020. So obviously, COVID hit, everything was starting to, really shut down economic wise. So I really started to pivot more into the social sphere of things with a creative background, just because I do believe a lot of the demands in art direction and in social media tend to kind of go together. A lot of people are using both sides of their brain for
Right.
both those avenues as well. So I really enjoyed the process of making posts, organizing shoots, and finding new ways to show off different people's talents as I was working with them. And also on social media, everybody can be seen. So that was something I
Wow.
really enjoyed as well.
I think that's a good combination, the art director and the social media, because I have few
Yeah.
of my friends who are into, art directing, maybe photography and, the videography and stuff like that. And they are always like social. So it's a nice combo, basically. They always like go from year to year. It's like amazing. Okay, so what is the one thing you like doing the most in social media for the fitness industry?
I really enjoy the community. I think that's the biggest thing. I think, especially with social media, you do really have to be community oriented and community first. And in the fitness industry, because it's so localized, that tends to get amplified.
Mhm.
Everyone is also there to better themselves or take a break from their busy day or their busy schedule. So it's so fun to see people get the support that the fitness industry can bring,
Of
especially
course.
in the right spaces with the right facilities. When you're working with the right team, social media doesn't feel like a slog either. Sometimes if you're working with particular people,
Right.
maybe they don't want to be on camera, and that's okay too. But sometimes also in the fitness industry, there is a huge push to also promote your classes,
Mhm.
promoting your own work. So that's something I really enjoyed because a lot of people like to bring their own ideas to me as well,
Wow.
particularly with organic social.
Yeah.
That's really where I can get really creative. And I really enjoy that aspect of being able to work with different instructors and different people,
Mhm.
business owners as well, really just trying to see their business grow and watch it kind of come back with the community and hear that feedback and be like, oh, I really liked that you guys did that. That was so cool. And then you see them
Yeah.
in person as well. So it just kind of has like a direct feedback loop that you can really see what you're doing and get feedback in real time.
Wow, that's interesting. I have not worked with any fitness industry yet, but I would love to explore it because I think
Yeah.
it's social media, it's all about maybe you don't know until you explore that niche. So, what do you think the outsiders get wrong when putting a strategy in the fitness industry or doing social media?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time when you see, and this could be broadened out to a lot of new, brands you start to work with, a little bit of a pitfall that some people I've noticed have gotten into. It's not just about the aesthetics or the graphics. You do really have to build a whole strategy out from the start. People need to be able to get a good idea of not only what the classes and the facilities are like,
Right,
but also the people that work there, the instructors that you're going with,
right,
the people that are going to be able to help you along your fitness journey. Those are all tiny details that can be so different across each studio, whether it's a boutique or a corporate studio. There's a lot of nuances that go into those as well,
mhm,
especially with how they're branded too. I've definitely seen, some studios lean more towards the aesthetic, but also make an impact as well in the way that they communicate the events that
right.
they're having or what they're truly about and why they do what they do. And if you can marry those two together, that's ideally the best combination. So, yeah, and then the care and consideration for different practices as well, especially in the yoga space. That's also
Mhm.
something that's really important to consider because, especially with social media, people will tell you if they don't like something or
Yeah.
if they disagree with something.
Mhm.
So, especially in the fitness sphere, because it's so competitive, people do like to put their two senses. So, also staying informed on what's happening in the fitness space as well.
Absolutely. That takes me to the next question. So these viral trends going on TikTok and Instagram these days. So how do you manage, keeping the aesthetic of your Instagram or of the fitness brand also and also chasing the viral trends? Like how do you manage that thing? It can be
Yeah,
difficult sometimes.
absolutely. Yeah, it always kind of goes back to just kind of knowing your audience. And that's really what it comes down to. You're not just making content for yourself, you
Mhm.
are making it for the people that you're serving at the particular location that you're working with.
Mhm.
If you're just posting just to post, it can come across that way that it will show. And not every trend is for every studio. So I've worked with studios who are a little more high impact, have a bit higher impact hit classes versus some studios are going to have more mellow meditation. Some studios are more in between. So it really
Mhm.
just depends on what you're really looking for to get out of specific trends. I've had teachers send me trends and be like, can we do this? And most of the time I say yes, because I think at the end of the day, if it's the stuff that people want to be a part of and people want to
Right.
film, especially for organic, that's
Mhm.
going to show and come across. But when it's something that maybe it doesn't always align with the studio.
Right.
I always like to kind of gear people in the direction of, showing different examples of, hey, this is something that we could do instead, and this would be
Yeah.
great. So, kind of working with that one-on-one relationship with different people also has been really helpful in kind of identifying which specific trends are going to work. And then also not overthinking it too hard either. I think at the end of the day,
Mhm.
a lot of people want to see fitness studios as more of a fun place to be.
Right.
Not this, it doesn't need to be super serious all the time, especially with organic social in particular. So,
Right.
yeah.
I also when I used to like back in India when I used to work out.
Yeah.
So I used to go to these gyms, but they used to be like so sad for me. So my motivation just
Oh,
ran through, just I was like, no, I just don't feel like going because everybody are just putting their earphones and just working out. And I do understand the privacy
yeah.
people need when they're working out. I mean, sometimes they just need to focus, but I think a little fun would, make me want to go more to gyms and
Yeah.
yoga studios and stuff like that. So,
And it was
so
a big thing for me too. It made me want to go too, because it's just like, it's more of like that same thing of like, you get to see the people every day. And then like
right.
if you were gone for a bit, they're like, hey, where were you? And stuff like
Yeah,
that. So now I
yeah.
think I'm like, oh, they're going to ask if I don't show up to the gym today. And then it ends up
Wow.
being a great time. So yeah.
I really wish to go to the gym, who has like this kind of culture where people are just, having fun, maybe recording reels and stuff like that. Because I come from a social media background. So I really
Yeah.
enjoy all of these stuff rather than just, putting my earphones and just working out. So yeah.
Yeah.
So, so why are the local brand collabs more powerful than the paid ads? What do you think about that?
So I think a lot of it is, it's part of it is it's not that standard paid ads are not, powerful. They have their place in a social media strategy.
Mm-hmm.
I've used them in the past to
Right,
garner more leads as we start to get them through. It can be great for introducing new leads directly to your sales funnel as well, because a lot of studios will have a separate sales funnel that they are putting through, getting people signed up for memberships, the
right.
whole whole shebang there.
Yeah.
But brand collabs with small businesses can give you a almost like a warmer audience because they are already familiar with your brand specifically, if they're
Hmm.
especially if they're localized in the neighborhood.
Right.
And I'm talking very hyper local terms with this, just because each gym or each studio can be so different too.
Mm-hmm.
And then working by word of mouth and other familiarities like that, if they're walking by,
Right.
that tends to have a little bit more of a higher impact.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
something I've also noticed too is a lot of brands, particularly with the studios that I've worked with, they tend to have different like almost like a sister brand that they kind of coalesce with, whether that's a coffee shop or a
Right.
hair
Right.
salon or different places that a lot of these people also go day to day that's in
Yeah.
that same neighborhood. So kind of being able to
Mhm.
work with those businesses has also been important to get those same audiences and
Right.
build that community and build retention too, because they're all in the same places as well. And just kind of building that brand identity out even further.
Yeah. Oh, that's absolutely right. So, how do you write content that builds the community and not just engagement? Like, how do you manage to write that?
Yeah, I think, yeah. So part of that would be, from a holistic standpoint, taking into the account that there's so much more that needs to be
Mhm.
taken into account than what is just the textbook chosen practice for what you might see initially when you're starting to work with fitness brands. People have very personal and intimate reasons for getting back into the gym, and a big part of my job, especially when I'm doing community management, is asking people what brings them into the studio.
Oh, wow.
And people will be very honest and
Yeah.
say, they've had injuries, they had a breakup and they're trying to get back into different hobbies, and
One
they'll
of the
get
best way.
very, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And so they have these very intimate reasons. So it's something that I think really needs to be into consideration when you're writing the content, is remembering the why that people are showing up in the first place. And especially since it can be a very intimidating experience to walk into a new space
Yeah.
and having to perform at certain levels as
Yeah.
well, because it's not like you can just sit in the back. Like, you are also actively participating and actively engaging in the
Mhm.
classes, and
Yeah.
it's something that needs to translate on social media too. Um, and highlighting that can make people either feel really good or can make people feel really naked, depending on how that messaging goes across. So it's super
Right.
important to be able to take that into account too. And it just basically goes back to the why, for, why the studio is going the direction it is, why the people are there, why the teachers are passionate about what they do.
Mhm.
And it's also one of the most competitive industries on social media.
Oh, yes.
It's remained in one of my, yeah, oh yeah, it's remained, in my opinion, one of the strongest industries in terms of content creation and collaboration since the
Mhm.
beginning of social media. I think there were, like, you think about bloggers back in the day, they
Mhm.
were still doing fitness tips and all that, and that's still
Right.
going very strong. Um, However, some brands or content creators have received backlash for not treating the fitness space like it is, which is a personal journey that everybody embarks on, for
Mhm.
very personal reasons.
Right.
Isolating others, making people feel small, or putting groups of people who worked out more on a pedestal are not the brands that tend to go very far. It really does come down to, being an inclusive space for everybody and their personal goals. So
Yeah.
being able to reflect that in the
Wow.
content, no matter who you're working for, is going to be super important, especially in the fitness industry.
Wow, this was great. I did not take it in that view what you're like trying to point out, but that's great actually. So you
Yeah.
might see a lot of competitors, and what do you think one mistake they make on social media, and how would you correct them?
Yeah, I think I recently did an article. I just turned 28 a couple weeks ago. So
Oh,
I
me
every single
too.
year, oh my God, when's your birthday?
It's February 20, like February
Oh, sweet.
20,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
2028.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. Mine was the 16th of this past month. So yeah, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So we were doing that. But every year I do like a 28 things I learned before turning 28. That was the one for this year, and like last year 27 and all that. So one of the things that I put on there had to do with just kind of like just be going back to being authentic. And authenticity is going to always, outshine anything else, and people can
Of
tell
course.
when you're not being authentic. So, sticking with anything that's going to be, that can lead to sticking with anything that's too vague or generic, especially as a marketer, or just kind of copying other people. It's okay to step outside of the box, and really put something forward. The worst case scenario is someone's going to say no, if you're pushing it through. So I think that's also something that, I think people just need to get a little bit better at, and I need to get better at too, is the power of rejection and just trying new things and
Yeah.
experimenting with different
Yeah.
avenues, because you never know. Because sometimes I've made posts and I was like, I spent maybe 5 minutes on that and it blew up. And other times it's like, oh, I think this is going to do really well. I mean, everyone's had that where they think it's going to go really well and it just doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
So,
Right.
it's really about that, being authentic in what you're making and putting something out that, really kind of aligns with the brand, but also is coming from a place where, you truly feel passionate about it as well.
Happens with me all the time. I'm like very active on LinkedIn, of course, because right now I'm just looking for full-time opportunities. I just graduated and I'm walking on Friday, this Friday. So I'm excited
Oh,
about that.
nice. Oh my God, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I usually post a lot on LinkedIn, but when I think that this post might blow up, it doesn't, but something else just blows up. So it's just so unpredictable. Social media is so unpredictable.
I know, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think about AI in marketing?
I think it's going to be one of those things where I think it has its place. I think it's still such a new technology that is so quickly evolving each year. I mean,
Yeah.
you think about even like 2 years ago with the way that it was responding and recording things versus the way it does now, it's like night and day. I think it still has its pace, but I think it still needs human editing and
It
input.
does. Mhm.
A lot of the AI search engines I've been running, or search engine not search engines, but like, different
AI.
inputs that I've had through
Yeah.
different programs. It can really vary the outputs of the way that content's written, the way that ideation is made, and it all depends on the way that everything is set up and also what you're inputting into their systems too.
Hmm.
So I've done different programs where I've just inputted a bunch of different content and just experimented with what came out of it. I've also done, obviously we've all done ChatGPT before. So we've done that too, and it's very nuanced, and I think as we kind of see it develop and grow, we are still going to see those tweaks and nuances, and I very much do like to be heavily involved still when incorporating AI into my work if I need to, and a lot of that's just so I can really pull something from it and learn something myself too,
Yeah.
as opposed to just, blindly putting something out and putting it on. And you can tell, I feel like, when someone just blindly
You
just puts
can.
AI, puts
It's
it
the
up there.
it's actually the M dash.
Yeah.
So you could tell. So that's what I try telling people that I think you should just eliminate the M dash because that makes your
Yeah.
content very AI-like. So
Yeah, yeah. Or certain phrases you start to see too, and I'm like, oh, that sounds like it was all written by AI. So
AI,
I
absolutely.
think it comes down to, yeah, it's like it's got its place. I think it's done a lot of really great things, but I also think that people really need to be mindful, particularly in marketing, because there is a growing amount of people
Absolutely.
who, don't want to see that so upfront in their face. So how do you navigate those lines? I think is something that marketers are really going to have to think about for the next 5 to 10 years even.
Absolutely. I saw a meme on Instagram. So a woman, she was just trying to just like experiment with AI. So she did the same with three platforms, that is Gemini, ChatGPT, and Claude. So she just asked like one question to them that I just want to fill my gas in my car, and the distance is just like not even a mile. So what should I do? Should I just walk or just take my car? So it was funny how AI was like, it's just less than a mile. You can just walk. And then I was like, oh my God, it like the fact that you have to take your car there to the gas station and then fill it. So I think Claude was the only right one who gave the right response that
Oh my
you have to take
gosh.
your cars.
Oh
And
boy.
like I think I like Claude more than the other AI because
There you
this
go.
was so
Yeah.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, I mean, the amount of experiments people have done with
Yeah.
AI just to
Oh,
see like how vastly different the responses are too. It's like you got to be able to check your work still. So,
absolutely.
yeah, absolutely.
So this takes us to our last question. So what do you have, like one piece of advice you would like to tell for all the marketers around out there?
Yeah, yeah. So this kind of goes back to, the other things I've been reflecting on recently is just to have a creative outlet. And I think that's something that we tend to forget as we're building our careers and really trying to climb our way up to up the corporate ladder. Or if you're doing your own thing, it can be, we all need to remember that as much as we're putting creative output in for these companies or for the campaigns that we're working on, and we are treating these campaigns like our babies. We also need to remember to take care of ourselves too.
Mhm.
I've also found the more creative outlets I have, the better my work actually becomes. So, it's like that phrase that people will say too, if like they get their best ideas in the shower. It's a way to turn off your brain and to really start to sit back and think about what you're doing in your day-to-day life too. And I think that's something to keep in mind. And it also just makes you a more interesting person to have, different things. Like in my life, I've done drawing, painting, I do
Wow.
modeling on the side, I do all sorts of stuff like digital art, graphic design,
Mhm.
just for fun. And I think that's just something to, be able to dabble in and really start to, pull from different ideas. It's just really important just to be able to get out there and try new things too. And that's, your brain's going to get used to it. And so that way, when you go into these different marketing careers, as competitive as the industry is, you can come out a lot more resilient and
Absolutely.
be able to bring more creativity as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great. And a little bit of advice. This is for myself. A little bit of motivation from you so that I could step out and just work out a little.
Oh, I think a big thing too is just find the thing that's like fun for you too. And like working out
Yeah,
can just be so many different things. And that's
yeah.
what I kind of learned over the years as well. I used to try to force myself into things that I just didn't like. And now I do the things I actually enjoy. I'm like, this is so much more fun. So
Yeah, I think
there's
here
that
it's the
too.
weather probably because it was so cold in like past 4 months, and I'm like, I don't feel like getting out. I just don't want to,
Yeah,
wear like 10
I
layers
hear
and just
you.
get out of the house. So I think the
Yeah.
spring might maybe help a little. I would try my best, but
Awesome. Yeah.
thank you so much, Lauren, for doing this with me. It was a great, great conversation. I really
Oh my
appreciate
gosh, of course. Yeah, I had so much fun with this. Thank you so much for having me on.
it. Thank you, Lauren, and you have a good rest of your day.
All right, sounds good. You too. Take care.
Bye bye.